few weeks ago when I was making the MG safety restraint system video, I talked about quite enjoying doing this, wanting to build up the channel a little bit, and hopefully managing to deliver some content that not everybody else is doing. So one thing I have noticed is that there doesn't seem to be a lot of coverage of the introduction of E10 Fuel into the UK in September this year. And it's something that us older car enthusiasts, as in enthusiasts of older cars and not old-gists like me, it's something that us enthusiasts of older cars are going to have to be aware of.
What's going on?
So the current 95 octane, which is effectively sort of standard or premium unleaded that most of us use in our petrol cars, that is currently E5, and that's going to get phased out later in the year and get replaced with E10.
So what is E10 Fuel?
E10 Petrol contains up to 10% renewable ethanol, sourced from biomaterials such as grains, sugars and waste wood.
What fuel do we use at the moment in the UK?
Currently, both premium and super unleaded are E5 fuels, which means they contain up to 5% renewable ethanol.
Will this change affect diesel?
No, E5 is a grade purely for petrol, it doesn't apply to diesel at all.
Why are they doing this? Increasing the ethanol content in petrol brings a reduction in carbon dioxide because ethanol produces less CO2 than petrol when burnt, and because the crops grown to produce it absorb CO2 from the atmosphere. So what cars were affected?
So what's been referred to as a small number of cars, including classics and some from the early 2000s, will continue to need to use E5 fuel. The RAC estimates around 600,000 to 700,000 cars are not compatible with the new fuel. Personally, I wouldn't call that a small number, but there you go. I have some examples from RAC research. They've indicated 28,000 Volkswagen Golfs, 18,162 Mazda MX-5s, and almost 16,000 Nissan Micras in the UK are unable to run on the new fuel. And the good news is that E10 Petrol is compatible with all production cars built since 2011.
How will I know if a filling station is selling E10 Petrol?
When fuel stations switch regular petrol from E5 to E10 in September, this will, by law, need to be stated on the pumps. How do I know if my car is affected? Okay, try these sites and I'll stick the links in below. If you find any other useful sources of compatibility information, then please add to the comments below. What do I do if my car is not compatible with E10 fuel? All is not lost, you can use 97 octane fuel, super unleaded will remain as E5. What could happen if I put E10 fuel in an incompatible vehicle? Ethanol is a solvent and it can cause degradation of rubber and plastic components such as hoses, seals, fuel lines and filters. It's also hygroscopic, which means it can absorb more water from the atmosphere and pull this into the fuel tank, maybe causing condensation and corrosion in fuel tanks, fuel lines and other metal components. Other possible problems include damaged fuel pumps, corroded carburetors and blocked fuel injectors. It almost goes without saying that damaged fuel components could lead to a fuel leak, with the obvious potential consequences, so it's important to choose the correct fuel.
Is it a problem if I accidentally fill up with the wrong fuel?
So the good news is the Gov UK says that using a single tank of E10 fuel in a vehicle that's not compatible should not be a major problem, but just make sure that you fill up with the correct E5 grade next time. Okay. Unlike putting petrol in a diesel engine, you shouldn't need to drain the tank, and on a one-time basis shouldn't suffer any engine damage as a result. Just don't do it again. One thing I would say, if you've got any concerns whatsoever, talk to a professional mechanic, because I'm not one.
What about the future? How long will E5 fuel be available for?
The DFT has said that it will protect supplies of E5 fuel for at least 5 years. It's referring to this as a protection grade.
So what will happen when E5 fuel is no longer available?
If your car's not E10 compatible, then hopefully the additives will be available at that time, similar to what happened when leaded fuel was phased out. Otherwise, modifications to update the car's fuel system will be required.
What will the extra cost to use super unleaded be?
This will obviously vary from car to car, but it's estimated to be in between £5 and £10. This is based around March 2021 figures, where the price of unleaded according to the AA was 125.3 pence per litre, whilst super unleaded was 136.4 pence per litre, so that's a difference of 11.1 pence. That means that the cost of a tank of petrol will be £6.11 more for a 55 litre family car.
Okay, so what will I be doing?
My MGTF was produced in 2003 and my Toyota RAV4 was produced in 1997, so I'm going to be running both those cars on E5 only. I don't do a lot of miles in either of those cars now, so hopefully the cost impact to me will be fairly negligible. The Dino bespoke build has got a Zetec engine from a 1999 Mondeo. I've had a look at Ford's recommendations for cars of that age, and it would appear that E10 will be fine. What I will have to do is just check all the components that I've bought and make sure that they're E10 compatible. And lastly, my daily driver, which is a 2006 Porsche Cayenne, is also fine to use E10. So that's everything that I've learned about E10 Fuel. I obviously needed to do this research to protect the fuel systems of my own cars, the youngest of which is coming up to 16 years old now, so this was obviously relevant to all of them. I thought as I was doing this, I'd make a video out of it, and hopefully it will be useful to other people as well. Please let me know in the comments below if this has been useful, if the occasional video in this style would be a useful addition to the channel. And finally, thanks for watching. We appreciate your support. See you soon.